All right, welcome back to another episode of StichMethod Guitar Fundamentals. Today we're going to be talking about bettering your rhythm, but not in the way that you think I'm going to talk about. And before we begin, let's just make sure I say that if you do like this video, make sure you do share it and subscribe. I love sharing my teachings with anyone who wants to listen to it. With that being said, we'll move forward. I teach a lot of people, and I'd say like 6 to 7 to 8 times out of 10, what I'm about to show you is a huge culprit in the rhythm debacle. And so let's just set you up by saying, let's pretend this guitar is a car. Here on my strumming hand, you have the engine. This is where the pistons are firing, the motion comes from, the power comes from, the tempo comes from. And over here you have your steering wheels. Now if I wanted to race a car, and I got in the car and I had, an X horsepower engine, and I hit the gas, I'm going fast, boom, and I take my first turn, and all of a sudden during my first turn, my steering column comes off, you're gonna be dead. And the idea is you want to make sure that your steering column and how you move around the fretboard is really in place. And so that when you do hit the gas, you're not stopping the gas, or you're not coming off the tracks because you can't get your chord changes down perfectly. And another analogy I'll tell you is, I'm sure you've not done this, but you can picture it. Pretend you're playing a song and you have a drummer next to you. If the drummer has to stop playing for 1 second for you to get your chords, then something's wrong. If you're playing bum 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 dun 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 dun, and that drummer has to be like, something's wrong. So we're going to be talking actually about the fretting hand for your lefties, or the fretting hand. And so the idea is, this is the precursor to studying good rhythm. You have to make sure your steering wheel is in place. And so how do we do that? Well, we're going to study with chords, and we're going to study 3 main ways to practice chords. And I'll tell you what they are right away. They are practicing them from the thickest strings to the thinnest, and putting them down in that order, from thinnest to thickest, and stamping. I'm going to go over each one, why they're important. Well, let's go starting from thickest to thinnest. This is when, if you picture a piano player going from left to right, the idea is we do have musical lines and things based off of chords that move from thick to thin. You can think of La Bamba. That comes from the thick side of the chord. And so you want to practice playing any chords. Now you can do this with bar chords. I'm going to do it with open chords. I'll show you bar chords in a couple of seconds. But the idea is you want to play the chord from thick to thin. And once you put your finger down, you cannot move it. And so I'm going to play this American style G chord. You have a British style G that you can do, or American, whichever, I don't care, it's up to you. The idea is I'm going to play this string here, then my next string, go through the chord, then get to this guy. And once everything is down, you have to strum. And if that chord is dead, then we did it wrong. And you gotta try C chord, and you gotta strum it afterwards. F chord, because we do have musical movements that come from the thick side of the chord to the thin. And once you get a hold of that, you wanna start putting a very slight rhythm to it, just simple chord notes. I should take that out, but you know what, this is a practice session. And the idea is you just want to go very slowly and check your steering rhythm by just hitting the gas very slowly. This isn't about the speed here. This is about making sure everything kind of like turns, all right? Once you can go from thick to thin and keep the chord there and strum through, then we have something that's working. Thin to thick. All right, same thing. I'll do the same chords. F chord, little baby F. If you have a hard time with this F chord, try it with the F major 7. C chord. Now, by the way, I wanted to mention that when you're practicing from thin to thick, you want to try coming up with the pick. It can't hurt. It's going to help. And then strum. Now going backwards on the G chord, believe it or not, I like the British G. And you can do this with any chord you have. The idea is you're forming the chord underneath the string or right on top of the string as you need it. Another analogy I teach when teaching this is Magneto. Like when he's walking in the movie and he starts pulling up the metal to form the bridge underneath his feet as he walks. It's the same thing. There's plenty of musical phrases that you can play and then form the chord as you need it. And you have to listen for these things. All right, so from thick to thin and thin to thick is a great way to practice. The last one, stamping. A lot of music is the stamping of chords, especially if you're playing just pure rhythm guitar. Like, and so stamping, what you want to do is you want to get good at coming off chord and going to another chord straight down, and coming to another chord straight down. How do you practice that? Well, you can do it a couple of ways. You can form your chord from thick to thin, strum it, close your eyes, feel what it feels like in your fingertips. You know, you should be able to play a lot of stuff with your eyes closed eventually on guitar because you're feeling it out on your fingertips. And so feel what that feels like. Feel what your fingertips feel like, what your fingers feel like next to each other, the sides of the fingers, and then you're going to come off and put your hand on your leg, and you're going to try and come back and make that chord again based on the feeling of it. This takes time. But the more you do it, the better you get. You're going to close your eyes, put your hand on your leg, come back, and see if you can get that chord. And it's based on the fingertip movements, how everything feels up here, and you want to try and replicate that. Here's a G chord. All right, I'm going to put my hand on my lap, and then I'm going to kind of like form it. Sorry, I actually touched the guitar. I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to form it in one stamp and do that. There we go. D chord, you know, play it, come off the guitar, and see if you can just recreate the feeling. Oh, there it is. I want to make sure I was on the right fret. And my eyes are still closed, by the way. You know, and so closing your eyes and playing the chord, I should open my eyes now, and coming off and then coming back with a stamp is huge. You can do this with bar chords, and a lot of music, especially like I said, when you're playing rhythm stuff, uses these stamps. Here's an example of one of my favorite tunes using bar chords and these quick stamps, and it goes like this. You can see so many quick maneuvers here, and it's hard to, you're going to say, if you can't stamp those chords, you're going to say my rhythm is bad, because you're going to end up playing it like, and you're going to say to yourself, you know what, like my rhythm is not good, and it's not because this hand can't get it, it's because our chords can't come down in this fashion. So before you start studying rhythm, you really want to practice moving your chords and getting to your chords in time really slowly, from thick to thin, thin to thick, and stamping off and on with the stamp. The more you do that, the better your rhythm is going to come right through that guitar, and then we can really start working on rhythm, which I will have some guitar fundamental videos about rhythm. But before we get there, let's make sure our steering column can handle the sheer velocity of our engine. And so with that being said, that's it. It's a quick episode of Guitar Fundamentals. I thank you so much for being here. Again, if you like this, give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. If you want to practice with me, I do have my Patreon account, and I'll be creating some practice videos to help you with this if you need it. And all I want to say again is thank you for being here. It really means a lot. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.